Day Market Report, please make sure that you hit that like button so we can help push this through the algorithm, through the analytics, and help more people reach just a fine audience that we have. And not just that, we can help each other become more educated. There's strength in numbers, ladies and gentlemen. If I can't see it all, you can. So, and that means each and every one of you. So it does really help having such a wide array of audience and being over 19,000 now, which is a blessing. We have not over 19,000 people that can have eyes on this for us. Actually, I don't even know how, but 19,300, just over three. I think it's like 19,306 or something when I seen. It's incredible the show of support over the last few weeks as well. So I can't thank everybody else who's watching, even if you're not in right now. That's why I say everybody else. To the ones that are in the live, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy afternoon to come in here and watch this live. You know what I forgot to do? One thing. I noticed it because I seen I didn't have my silver chain on. It's good luck for me. I like having silver around my neck. Call it cliche. Um. Anyhow, so but anyhow, I just want to thank everybody for being in here. Kenu, Hamza, JW, welcome, and gonna have to watch later. Watch it later, but thanks in advance. You're welcome, JW. Have a safe afternoon. It sounds like you're pretty busy. I know it's in the middle of the workday where you're at as well. Well, here as well. I think you're probably around the end of the workday right now, about 5:30 maybe. No, probably approaching 6 now. Bill, good afternoon. Mo, good evening. And I appreciate you being in month 1 of Tom's Army along with Mr. Tacos, Mr. Extra Sour Cream Taco Supreme. Both of you are in month 1 of Tom's Army, and I really appreciate that. And I know that because you have me being abducted by aliens on that emoji badge. That's really me superimposed my face. Someone who was watching me, pretty cool lady, she made that for me. Just like somebody made my emote that you see when you first click on my YouTube page. That's why I'll never change it. Some say, why don't you have something related to XRP? I have the Tom's Army. Somebody made it for me when I was very small, at less than 500 people. And that was special. And then the XRP Diamond Hand, somebody made that for me. So now that's my background on my YouTube page. And then that's what I use when I go live as my photo. Except for the market updates. For some reason, it didn't change it out today. But I made a different one for my market update. So you'll be able to see that emote when, or at least the file when it starts now. And yeah, I'll look at Dogecoin for you, Mr. Sour Cream. Or Taco, Extra Sour Cream Taco Supreme. I don't know if I got it right or not. But good mid-afternoon. 1:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, November 27th, 2023. I'm XRP future millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Gonna be a fun week in Indianapolis again for the 3rd week, but I wouldn't want to get into that because my masters might get mad that I'm talking college football. Oh no. So take a look at SKL, please. That is not in my rotational tug, so I'm not going to do it on the midday market report. No offense. If you come back tonight when I'm live at 6:30 p.m. when I'm talking all crypto, the only reason I'm going to do Dogecoin, one, Julie owns it. As what? Me, Julie. This household owns it. 2, my fine friend is in Tom's Army. And 3, I don't have to do anything because I have it covered on a daily basis for my own personal use. So the Dow Jones is down 60.96, down 0.17% for the Dow, or it's at 35,328. Otherwise, I would, but I have so much stuff I have to cover in the midday market report, and I try to do it in such a short amount of time. Oh, Doge Chain? What the hell is Doge Chain? Did you say Doge? Is that Doge Chain or Doge Coin? I must have misread that. Well, I'll have to see what you say. But this is a broadening wedge still with the Dow. We know it's going towards Doge Chain. Well, that'll have to come tonight on the crypto, because I don't have Doge Chain on my chart. I have Dogecoin, but I got to get through the midday market report. This isn't supposed to be crypto related. So the broadening, well, I mean, it can be, but I try to focus on everything outside of it so that people don't cheapen up my updates when it comes to XRP and that kind of stuff. So the broadening wedge here for the Dow, it looks like it doesn't look like we're coming up here to 36,000 and some change. That's the top of the broadening wedge. There's no way around that. So when Michael Mary made that short, I told everybody, be careful there. It's not time for a short. He's going to get hammered. And there's a reason why he did it. He had a lot more in longs than he had going short. So my speculation is getting all that liquidity tugged to the downside like he got here. And then, well, he didn't get here. He got right here. So he basically bought what? Somewhere up here somewhere. He was doing, I don't think he did as bad as it was led on to be, but I know he wrote it out and didn't sell it because he expected further. And maybe he bought it because he knew we were in this broadening wedge. I can guarantee he did. He knows the pattern, but my speculation is he had a lot more going long, and he knew by putting it short, he'd get this downside liquidity. Sure, it cost him 40% of his 1.4 billion short, but if he's got billions and billions going long already, it did him actually a lot more to turn these shorts into longs because he's got the money. So he might have lost 40%, but all he did was he covered those shorts and he turned them into longs anyhow. I guarantee it. Rich people, that's what they do. So he might have lost it down here, but he's recouping it once it gets up here and then some, and probably 10 times the amount with what he's already put into it if it breaks this. That's what I think is going on here. But so we hit the pivot point, hit another pivot point. This was if you broke this and rejected, you knew you were coming down to the broadening wedge for a third hit. You only need 2 on a broadening wedge, and I always try to stress this. Most patterns, you need 3 hits. The broadening wedge, the legend is you only need 2 hits on each side. Resistance, you have a support, resistance, support, resistance. That verified the pattern. Now it becomes more volatile in each move. We held the pivot point. That was there before this broadening wedge started. This pivot points, these have been here throughout the whole pattern before we came down the first time. It's just you highlight them when it gets back into these areas so you know what the hell is going on. And it just played out so nicely. It always does. Top side of this, it can make a run. Bottom side, it falls off pretty quickly. And now it's, if you break this 36, and that's the thing. This is coming into a bull flaggy. Yeah, I know we came down in a downward trend, but the way you go into a broadening wedge often determines the way you break out of it. Notice I said break out of it, not break down. So if it breaks this broadening wedge, we know what the technical target, well, I'm going to show everybody what the technical target is, then we're going to move on to the next one. Because if the Dow does this, and I always tell everybody, in the big guys who own these stocks, the ones who own them, they get their yearly bonuses based on year-end price and earnings. So the whole year they can shit the bed. Excuse my French. They can empty the tank. And then what happens? End of year, they can just shoot it up because now they get paid their bonuses based on the end of the performance. So the fact that they did what they did all year, the printing presses are open. And did you know what happened with the Fed? If anybody doesn't believe this, do you know what the Fed did? And how beautiful is this? They're printing money end of year, and the printing presses are going nuts. Does anybody know what the Fed did? Franco, I appreciate that you get that charged. I appreciate you trying to tune this in right now even. Kyle Kupiak, welcome in. Cape Cod Kyle in the house. Not from Florida, Massachusetts, if I got it right for once. They are exempt from taxes. The Fed no longer pays taxes. Oh, you heard that right. It got snuck in there with the old, we're going to pass. We're going to pass so the government stays open. Remember that whole fiasco that they passed to allow the debt ceiling to raise just a little bit more? Basically just expanding the credit limit a little bit more, causing our kids just a little more of a hardship and us going forward. They don't need to pay taxes anymore. Oh, and they're going to keep on. You better believe it. They don't have to pay taxes on the gains now. Think about it. They're going to put all that money that they can into the bonds, into the markets. Remember, when everybody tells you it's going down, when everybody tells you to look over there, what did I tell everybody about gold and silver? And we're going to get to that shortly. I told you expect an unexpected rally, and I said this when it went down to 1930 and silver was down under 22, closer to 21. I said in the next couple weeks, you're going to have a surprise rally because the closer we get to the end of 23 and 24 starts, with the BRICS agreement, they can sell out of government bonds and get rid of the US dollar for petrol starting on the 1st, which I think if I'm thinking what I read was right, there's a 24-hour grace period. I'm assuming so that not everybody can flood in at once, or so that they will all flood in at once. And on the 2nd of January, they can technically stop buying petrol with US dollars. And you know what that means? You have just now lost your world reserve status as the world reserve currency. The moment that happens on the 1st, you are now no longer the world reserve currency. You know why? Saudi Arabia owns that oil. And guess what? They're part of the BRICS. Game over. So if you didn't do what you need to do with metals, you're running out of time, literally and figuratively. You don't think they're going to put a tax on buying it in the near future? You better think twice about that. If they're taxing everything else, you better believe that's right around the corner. And I'm not talking about a tax on sale. I'm talking about a tax to buy. Just ask the people in the UK how that worked out. It's brutal. Or Australia. It's all brutal. I don't know. I don't live over there, but I know what I read. And I know what I read from the ones, not from the mainstream, from the ones who live over there that have the truth. Who owns the Fed? The central bank runs the world. Politicians, politics, there's no reason for that for my community. You're not speaking, but I'm saying the reason I tell people there's no reason for politics, right or left, up and down, you know, as sure as the sun is to the north and the seas are to the south. I'm not going to keep going because I was going to speak of stuff that will probably get me banned. But as sure as I stand right here in front of you, and I might be a hologram, but as sure as you know as I'm standing right here in front of you, oh my God. The central banks run the world, and that's why you don't need to argue with your friends and your parents and your loved ones or me about politics, because that dumbass Democrat or ridiculous Republican, they all play for the same team, ladies and gentlemen, and the central banks run the show. The sooner you know that, the more you'll know you become your own central bank by what? Stop relying on the government, stop relying on big banks, and you start to rely on your own money, not currency. You start to put money into gold, silver, and then you start to buy cryptos. They're each other's best friends. The big slander is crypto's the new gold, gold's the old store of it. That's because they want to fight you against each other. It's so true. It's so true. They do it all the time. Just remember, everything's about division. Racism, sports, politics. The new, I don't know, faux pas that go around. It's all about division. So, if there's anything you can learn from today, it's that. The DXY continues to go down as we predicted. I wanted it. I really wanted them so everybody could get a chance to feast on metals for a little bit longer. I really wanted this to bounce up here to 109. I did. And not saying it can't happen, because there's one chance that we could still reverse. I don't want it to at this point. I'd just rather the US dollar die now. Because it's the reason it's over, though, the reason why it's over, and it might be too late to even have a last chance rally again. We lost the rising channel, yes, but we're getting closer to 24. If we lose this 102.89, we're going to lose the neckline. And I came down as far as I could on this neckline. That's the truth. If you lose that neckline, the W reversal is invalidated, which basically it is already. Basically, it already is. But the technical target actually came down to the extended neckline, where I said, okay, this is extended because of that technical target, and it's right within the plus minus in my book. If you lose this, you better believe you're going to be coming down. And I'm telling you, if this happens early 24, because it's lined up. I mean, really, if this happens right when the new year starts and you see us down at 97, get ready. Get ready, because I've showed people this many times. The DXY, and I'm coming out hot today and this week with information, because I'm just going to give it all. And if people can't handle it, that's all right. I can handle it, you can handle it, and if we can all handle it together, the ones who are in here are going to be that much more holy magolies. So, I've started watching this I wasn't born until 1983, but I'm saying, since I started doing what I do in 15, I've watched this pattern. So, since 2015, or actually it was about 2017 I started watching it. Right here though, April of 1985 is that resistance where I started. Right here, the downtrending support, which you could say it's a descending triangle, which it is. That's exactly what it is. And watch how bad this gets. You have the support that started here all the way back in December of 1978. I was negative 5 years old by 16 days because I was born December 17th, 1983. So support, resistance. So now look, you have a descending triangle, right? That it broke out long term. Well, I'm not going to get tricked just by that. I know there's something bigger here. So we have a breakout. Now, what do I always teach everybody? The overextension of the breakout is that new high it creates. Then you've got to take that, overtake it, and break out for a confirmed breakout. Right now, we have the first layer breakout, and now you have this uptrending support, and it creates its own different pattern. You start to create this little formation here, and if you break down from this formation, it becomes brutal. And I don't know how the dollar gets out of this unless, like I've said before, we can have one last gas rally, which could still happen. And I'm going to make no mistake about it. This can happen, and that's why we keep watching it. If it breaks down out of this structure, I mean, it's not good. By no means is this good. If it breaks this structure, look how far down you could seriously come. It's 97, but what happens if you break out of a pattern that's been going that long? Well, then it comes back down from the overextension that started back on this uptrend started, a real uptrend here, roughly 2011. So you've been on a 12-year facade here. And what is this, ladies and gentlemen? If you've been a part of my audience for any amount of time, you know how bad this is what we're looking at. I mean, you're looking at a prototypical rising channel here. And what is a rising channel? That is a bearish reversal at the top of maximum proportions. And you not always come down to the bottom. But if you break down, you come back to the bottom. If you break back down, you're coming down here, ladies and gentlemen. Could you imagine the US dollar at sometime in 25 at 70? Just think about this. If this played out true, and you're getting out ahead of it right now, some people are like, he's out of his fucking mind. I know. What if it does this? And you end up in a trajectory. I think we're coming down here faster than most people care to admit. This is a descending pattern. That rising channel all the way to the top is bearish as hell. Now, if it breaks up, then you might be able to have a run to the top. But in the current economic environment with the U.S. dollar losing world reserve status as of next year, I don't know how long they can pull the facade, maybe make it worth some to stay in the dollar or the bonds. But I'll tell you what, this is not good. So I just look at the DXY. It can. And this has been a 50-year buildup. But on top of that, it's been a 12-year cycle where we've just expanded the money supply and not had to pay the repercussions. Ask yourself why the Fed is exempt from paying taxes now at the exact time they're expanding the money supply. They're going to have to collect taxes from somewhere else, or they know it's over. Think about it from devil's advocate point. They know the U.S. dollar's over, so why pay the taxes now when they're just going to go digital in a few months or a few years? I mean, now the debt doesn't matter. The U.S. government bonds have a golden cross here in the monthly, and we've talked about this. This could possibly come all the way back down here, and I was saying maybe down to 3 point. Here, let me go into a lower time frame, but this is eventually going to shoot up, and I keep telling everybody why. You can't entice anybody to buy these if you lower the price. You've got some people on Bloomberg and some of the so-called experts that are telling you to lock these 10-year rates in because you're never going to see them higher. Are these people out of their freaking dolls? If you lock in a 10-year rate and you watch me on a government bond, I will reach through this monitor and I'm not going to slap you, but I'm going to give you a stern finger to the face, okay? Just, you know why? You buy the 6 month or the 1 year and you're getting 5% right now. Why would you put it out on 10 years? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. This isn't a descending chance. That tells me that she has no idea what she's talking about. You know what's going to end up happening here? She's going to look smart in the beginning. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oops. Okay, it's over. Oh, wow, what's going on here? Ahead? Oh, my goodness. And then it's going to break out. You know why? I can already tell you the future history of this. Sure, she might look smart for a minute as you're locking it in the whole way down, but she's not considering is the monthly because she don't know how to read a chart. I can guarantee all these people can't read a chart. They read a teleprompter. That's why we're not the same. Imagine it comes down there and retests. Oh wow, how convenient that the 20 days running through there in the monthly. We're having what looks like the start of a what's that? A long leg doji. It's just not officially put in yet in the monthly, but we still have time. It's coming down. And then it would retest that golden cross. And then what would happen in this golden cross scenario? And it would even come down lower than the uptrend I put, likely, unless it meets it at the uptrend around 3.9. It's going to create an inverted head right here on a huge bull flag. And what they don't tell you is look at that huge cup and handle that's been fulfilled, and you would create that bullish handle. It's massive. Now, if you break down, I mean, they give up. Then they have to come back and retest the 200-day, and that's if it comes down there, you might as well just kiss those bonds goodbye. But this is a massive bullish pattern. I mean, through the monthly, it has a golden cross, and she's telling you to lock in there. Is she out of her mind? Over 10 years? Over the next 10 years, this is going to probably go up. Who knows how far? Look how far it's come. She's telling you to lock it in now, and it's going to go up to probably 15 to 20% in the next 10 years. I'm not even joking. We might go higher than that. Look at that descending structure we've been in since 19. I mean, seriously, she's telling you to lock in the lowest rates we've ever been in. Hello? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Lock in 5.5%. Are you out of your mind? Or 5.25%? Oh no, I'd rather lock in 14. Or how about conservatively get me up to 8 to 10% where on average, when the country was run right, in the 80s, look, I mean, it's going to be bad. You go back down to the 20s. This is what happened. The Great Depression, yada, yada, yada. Then when we started coming out of it, what happened? You had to raise these exorbitantly. Same thing's happening now. The country's going to, now the next time it rises back up, there's nowhere to go but up. You can't go down from here. They're the lowest they've ever been. It's worse than the Great Depression. How low it went. You've already taken out all those lows. Now you're breaking back. I mean, it doesn't make any sense unless they're really trying to make us broke. That's the truth. And that's why I do what I do every single day, because I can't take it. I literally put this on in the background with no volume when I have it on my TV. You listen, because you go mine them. You go. I'm gonna get some water because I'm going mine them. Okay, let's get through this in a timely fashion. I've already been on much too long, and I'm wearing out my welcome on YouTube here. Please make sure to hit that like button. If you appreciate what I do, consider joining Tom's Army. I would love to see more people in here at some point. I really would. Maybe for the holidays, maybe in 2 years. I don't know when it's going to be, but I would love to see more people joining Tom's Army. You can always send a YouTube super chat if you appreciate my time. Crude oil. They said they wanted it at $77 a barrel end of year. So what do we talk about? We'd have to come down here. We have a death cross now, and now it probably will come lower than 77, or it'll hit. Or they wanted it $70 a barrel. It looks like that's what we're gonna do. We should create a head down here though, at some point. And now because of what they did, I think we're gonna go down to, or by 24 or even early 25, we should be up around $140 a barrel more than likely. This is a huge descending pattern that's confirming a cup and handle formation, a smaller one to get to the top formation. It's going to be a big thing coming. Gold silver ratio, as I said, is going to start coming down because silver should go up faster than gold if it's a real run up. I've been very transparent about this. Everybody who watches knows. I keep saying if we have a real run up here in the metals markets, Tom, are you still in China? And you, if not, do you think we need to get back? Oh, everybody who watch, I've only got $100 in China. Or what was no. I was thinking Shiba. No, I don't have Sheena anymore. The only time I had Sheena was during that run up that I seen on the charts because everybody kept talking to me about it. So I actually dedicated a different channel during the run up, and then I told everybody when I sold them when it was time to get away. Because that looks like nothing but a cluster, you know what, to me. It just seemed like a lot of false promises when I started reading through it. That's why I told everybody you can get on board in the beginning. But after I started seeing what was going on, you could clearly see that it was a pump and dump. So no, I mean you might. I don't even look at that chart anymore. It's not in my it's not even worth my time. I made some money on it. Anybody who watched me made money on it on the other channel that I had. But it was just taking too much of my time to cover that garbage when it's not something that I even care about. Even though at the time at first I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. But then after you start reading through it, the white papers, it was just you could tell it was very cheaply put together. That's all. No offense to anybody who likes it. Because I could be way off topic. I mean, I'm not gonna get mad about making 400% on something in such a short amount of time. It's just, I feel bad for the ones who didn't listen and actually thought it was going somewhere. I don't even know where it's at now, but I can't imagine it's in a good place. The gold silver ratio though, starting this death cross, and this is not in a short time frame. It's not like it's in the hourly time frame. Oh, we could have a mini bull run in 24, but it would be just a bear market rally. I'm anticipating something for XRP to at least touch 85 cents because that pattern started all the way in 2018. And to get that third rejection, you got one in 2018, you got one in 21. Now to get one in 23, early 24 would be right what it needs if it's going to continue to consolidate. Yep, I think I deleted that channel you can't even get to, I don't think. It's actually got a different name if I ever went back to. That would be my Dogecoin and You channel if I ever decide to cover Doge again. That's one thing I would consider doing because I like doing it on its own. But that's only because I own it. So one day maybe I would do something on that. It was a partnered station, which is funny, but I'm not even exactly sure how that even happened, but it did. Apparently people like me. The death cross, though, on the gold silver ratio, now that this is coming through, it's possible you could bounce off of here and reconfirm at 83.2. But once this comes through, it's more than likely going to get a rejection at 81.6 if it continues down. And then if it does, we're going to have to see if this is done at 79.6. If it breaks that, again, much like the US dollars in that big descending triangle, this has been in a much bigger ascending triangle. And what happens here, unlike the descending, this is eventually going to fall down. This is going to run out of steam and it continues to be rejected. So it's either the gold silver ratio is going way up or it's ready. It hasn't plummeted in a while. It has not plummeted since 2011. That's why I keep saying this is due to plummet because silver's so undervalued. At some point, this is going to drop. And what I keep preaching to everybody, you buy it 80 to 1 or higher with silver, forget the price. And then when it gets down to 40 to 1, hell, look at it this way. Let's say it only gets to 63 to 1 and you're like, you know what, Tom? I really want some gold, but I only have these 80 ounces of silver you told me to buy. I would say, you know what? Take 50, or what is this, 63? Grab 64 ounces of silver, go to your local pawn shop. And tell them, assuming they have gold and you trust them with gold and silver, you go onto a bullion website that you bought it from and they'll do the same thing. You just have to pay shipping. You trade. You trade your silver for gold. You give them the 63.17 ounces of silver. That's why I said 64, so let's just say 64. You get to keep 16 ounces of silver and you'll have 1 ounce of gold, which means you have 16 ounces of silver for free. Just remember that. It's how they manipulate the gold and silver ratios. They do it each way. If the silver's high, so right now, anybody who has a lot of gold, they might be selling it out for silver while it's 80 to 100 to 1, especially when it's 130. And then they're like, yeah, I'll just get my gold back when it comes back down to 40 to 1. But historically, this is something that I don't think a lot of people realize. Historically, if you look at the real consolidation periods, and there's several of them, and we haven't visited it for many years. So the consolidatory zone, when I look at these, boom, boom. You've got a little bit here before the bounce up. You got a little bit here, but we've never really revisited these areas, so once we break down, we're more comfortable here. And then we came down, came all the way up. We haven't had a big drop in a while to come back down into our comfort areas. I don't think that this is going to hold. I think we might find ourselves even lower to where one day, because of the usage and the going forward, we might find a scenario where all of a sudden the gold silver ratio is like 15-1. From what I've read, it's more designed to be like a 5 or 7-1 ratio. It's not meant to be this big of a ratio. So, oh, thank you, Kyle. Yeah, I love talking metals too. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm looking for it at least to get back into the lower consolidatory zone, and that puts you even at 50-1. I think it's coming lower though. Eventually, these are bearish, and if it breaks this formation, and I mean, look at the width of this. So just being conservative, and I don't want to like scare people like, oh my God, the gold silver ratio is never going to be the same here. I'll take it from a smaller part just so everybody's happy. I don't want to go to the other part because if I do it from so even conservatively, that gets you down to 49. That would be well within range for me. That would be, but look, that's the thing though. Like this is the other thing that's not spoken of, right? With this. And you never want to keep creating lower lows. Lower low, lower low. Where's that next low being formed? Because we have high, high, maybe a high up here. Like, do we create the next? And now the only way to know if it's the next lower low is to create a new high. So now if this is the new low, you'd have to create a high up here. I don't think that's what's happening. I think this big bear flag is getting ready to play true. And I mean, we can look at it two different ways, but they're most likely going to get, well, not most likely. They're going to get you to the same spot eventually. But I want to use this. I want to use this, how we have it, and just use it from, actually, I'm not even in the right spot. Look at me. You'd have a breakdown from this bottom level. We're not even using the top layer. So it's actually worse. Yeah, 39.2-1, roughly. Actually, it's higher. Not by much, but we'll just do the break point right here where it's kind of where it meets. How about that? So conservatively, you're talking 42.5-1 if it breaks down to that big bear flag. It's just, that's how it works. I'm not making the rules up here. And if you just want to use the bear flag instead of the size of that formation, I'll be conservative and not use the whole way down because that's what I do. So, I mean, it usually measures about, that's what I'm saying. It measures the same whether you do the width or if you do the bear flag. It doesn't matter. Everybody always acts like they're both different. I mean, look how evenly that is. Come on. Is that much of a difference there? No. So you can measure it any way you want. It's creating the same formation. So that's what we're looking at. Imagine it goes down there and that's where you get rich. You get rid of a lot. That's what I would do. And that's what I will do. I can't wait for my opportunity to do it. I'll get rid of a lot of my silver for gold. It's a lot lighter. But you need to keep silver for nominal terms. It's a lot lighter, not because the weight of gold is lighter. I get a lot of people that are like, Tom, it's not lighter. Are you stupid? No, but when you have to carry 80 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, yeah, the gold might be a little bit heavier per ounce. But when I got to carry 80 times more to equal 1 ounce of the other, it gets a lot heavier. So now gold's at 2012.52. We've talked about how gold, unexpected rally to end of the year, likely. Nothing's a guarantee, so I say likely. But we've come up exactly how we talk. And if it does break up to that next layer, we don't even look like we're going to create that W here. That was just speculation if we had to come down more. This is what I'm hoping it does. Something like this. And I put it out there for everybody, but I hope it does something like that. We've had a very big formation that's been going. And like silver, same thing. We're in a big rising channel here with gold, I mean. If you look at it from farther out, but these, I don't know why that's way up there. I must have moved it. But these started a long time ago. So this is all the way back in 1979. You had a resistance here in 2011. Now, even if we get rejected, your next high, if you mark the spots there, would be around 23.41. So you're talking about the next time for a retracement, if this plays true, is going to be somewhere around 2,341. Now, I've been buying gold, and the lowest I bought it was around 1450, but a lot of it was around 1700, and I stopped buying as much because silver, the differential. If this goes up to 2,300 and I can look at it and be like, wow, the US dollar goes and collapses, my gold and silver, I have some at 14.13. Not counting spot, obviously, on either. That's just straight ounce prices. Most of it was acquired at 16, 17. Some of it in the 20. Well, a lot of it, the last end of it was in the 20s. Low 20s, though. Not much was bought above 23, 24. I refused to buy it when it got over 25. Even though the ratio was good, you just have to have a level when you can see the consolidation. Now it's all changing. You got to take advantage of it if you don't have it. You've run out of time. It's not 2017 when I started. It's not even 2021 when I told all of you about it. Look at the breakout point of silver if this happens. 28.84. Now, the hope for some would be that we put in a long leg doji here. I'm telling you why. Because if you didn't do this, you want this to be a long leg doji here in the monthly so that you get a better shot. The daily and the weekly, this is going to have to play out. Even if it's a long leg doji, you'd have to have this play out still. And it could have a big breakout. So the monthly, I'm not really concerned about the monthly because there's a lot that can change the monthly in the short term. I think some are going to get caught in a bad spot here if it does end up pushing up. Because if you do get a big pull up here, it very well could invalidate this structure if you end the monthly now. Look at, we're getting closer to the end of this monthly. If we end the monthly up here, you invalidate anybody who wanted that long leg doji. It's going to end up very bullish. It's still a long leg doji, but if it ends up, if let's just say this pulls up by the end of the month and it's up here somewhere around 24, even right now where it's at, it'll still be inside of here. But if we do get a rally to end this year or this month even, let's say we end up at 24 bucks or somewhere close. I know we're here right now. I'm trying to see where it could end up, where it would fall back in. But let's say we do close above 24.50. You've invalidated this structure. And now you've closed the monthly above this major resistance. And I'm not just saying major just to say it. The amount of far length you have to go back because of where it broke out, you had a resistance. It just, what the hell happened there, bro? Oh, because I'm in the monthly. You have to go back to the weekly. I always forget with some of these, it's harder to see. And that was for the uptrend coming back here. But it's still off track. Still breaks off track. But the major, I'm getting rid of that right now. That's not even part of our formation. But the major resistance we're going to come up to is up here. If we can break out. That's this big rising channel that we've been in. It's our channel, but it's rising. Eventually, we're going to break out of this, and eventually, we're going to retest it. We haven't done it since 2011. Think about that. In 2011, silver went up to $50 an ounce. 12 years later, we're at $24.50. Just consider that. You don't think it's ever going to go back up there, or do you think eventually it's going to break it? Everybody acts like $50 can't happen. We hit there in the last collapse. What's everybody thinks going to happen when we collapse again? It's not going to be pretty. Just like we talked about with B2 Gold, 5% dividend, then I'm out of here. If you want to pay it forward, you can always join Tom's Army or send a YouTube super chat. Please make sure to hit that. Well, I don't even need to say it. Everybody hit the like button. So thank you so much for hitting the like button. I appreciate so many people being here on the Midday Market Report today. It means a lot to me. Please share this on social media. And if you're looking to trade crypto, video description below. There's MEXC, there's BitUnix. Take advantage of them before we get new regulations, I'm assuming in 24 again, to make it even more difficult before more exchanges leave. You know, a lot of them are not supporting the USA, which is hysterical. That just means we're getting closer to a rally. That's all it means. The less support you get to buy, the better chances you have. They're not showing support for the rest of the world. They're just trying to keep the USA out of the loop. B2 Gold, we continue to talk about. We have one of two things that's going to happen. We're going to start on this inverted head and shoulders in the daily. We're going to start pulling up. We're going to break this $3.21, which is why I bought in at $2.97, as most of you know. I didn't even get down here. I bought it on what looks like a right shoulder. And I didn't just buy in $1. I bought 3,500 at that level. So if it does break up and we hit here and break out, we'll be good to about $4. If it gets rejected here, we'll have to consider as it comes back down, because I would have my stop loss probably right where I bought it. Because if it breaks it, obviously I would want to buy it on the next drop. But it's already given us the leverage we need. We can watch it go up. If it gets rejected, I'm not selling. If it comes through my buying, I'm out. I'd probably put it at $2.98, so I'd be up a cent. Because if it breaks this, it ain't holding. There's no way it's holding the triple bottom here, I don't think. And then the bear flag would have to play out, and that should, at worst, I mean, at best case scenario would get you around that 260, but I think it'd be going to 240 if it broke down. It's just, I'm not so sure that this wasn't a setup just to make people not buy this. It's too convenient to have a bear flag there and then form that inverted head and shoulders for me not to be interested in at least taking a shot here. And it pays a 5+% dividend. So consider that. And then silver, my favorite asset of all, the most undervalued on the planet. And I think it's the best buy you could possibly have right now to store your value. Obviously, the price is going up. And if you haven't listened to me to this point, if you've been listening all year back in 22, you could have bought it at 19. After it went all the way up here to 30 while we were on the air together, ladies and gentlemen. After we sold XRP, I begged in 22 for everyone to buy it when it was way down there. Said if you didn't buy it way, way down, this is about as way, way down as we're going to get for a while. And we're in a structure. The structure has never changed since I've been on the air. All we've done now is we created the expansion. You break out of the expansion zone, which was the formation resistance after you broke out. Now you have a technical move to get you up to almost 29 bucks. You break that, you're up to 34.80. It's a very slippery slope if you haven't got in once it starts going. Metals do not stop when they start going until it's ready to recorrect. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. I appreciate everybody for sticking around for this midday market report. It was much longer than I intended, but I had a lot of fun. I hope I gave you enough knowledge to where you'll understand this and you can understand exactly why it's so important to understand. And I'm going to actually put this as under my silver stackers collection as well, because I went into a big breakdown for the silver stackers in here just so you can understand further. Thank you all so much. I can't thank